You caught me. It's true, I love Sonic 1. And unlike a lot of games I play with Retro Achievements, I've actually played through this one maybe hundreds of times. And that's because as someone who grew up in the 2000s and 2010s, Sega actually made it accessible to my iPad baby brain with the amazing iOS ports. Take notes, Nintendo, it shouldn't be that hard to play Super Mario Bros. 1. Since I've played the game so many times, I'm always looking for new ways to play the game. So why not try it out with Retro Achievements support? This adds achievements into your favorite old games. Got it? This set has 35 achievements that range from beating all the game's zones to beating certain stages with time constraints, then getting every bonus emblem on every level, all the way to 2 of the hardest achievements in the set, beating all of Green Hill Zone with less than 1,000 points in the score counter, and beating the entire game without a death. So let's check out Sonic the Hedgehog for the SEGA Genesis, or SEGA Mega Drive. Hi EU viewers. If you're new here, by the way, I'm Pajamajohn and I love retro games. I'm trying to take a trip down memory lane and master all the games I loved as a kid. So if you like retro content and or retro achievements, remember to subscribe and drop a like on the video because it really helps the channel out. Since 8 of the achievements are progression-based, I figured the best thing to do is play through the entire game in one go and see how many I get. And since I've played through the game a bunch, I don't suspect this initial run will be all too hard. Within the first 13 seconds, I got my first achievement for getting 20 rings. Bit of a Mickey Mouse achievement, but hey, I'll take the extra points on my profile. Going through the rest of Green Hill Act 1, I managed to get hit a bit towards the end and lost most of my rings, so I wasn't able to get into the first special stage. Although I have played this game billions of times, like I said, it's been a while, so I'm a bit rusty. Also, beating this stage got me another Chivo. In Green Hill Act 2, I grabbed the speed shoe and used it to land on top of the loop to grab this extra life for the achievement Green Life. This time, by the end of the stage, I actually had 95 rings and jumped right into the giant ring. The special zones in this game, as literally everyone might know, are trippy and nauseating and hard to control. But I remembered the path I needed to take to get to the blue emerald. I almost hit a gold tile, which, by the way, is not the goal of the special stages, but I got the first chaos emerald right here. I'm not sure what the devs of this set decided would be a worthy extra life for an achievement, because this extra life right here didn't unlock one. But the rest of Green Hill Act 3 was easy, as you might imagine, and I took on the first fight with Dr. Robotnik. The classic ball and chain fight was fine. I got hit once and lost my shield, but after smashing his face 8 times, I won the battle and popped open this capsule to get an achievement, as well as saving all these poor animals from being turned into robots. A lot of people don't like Marble Zone, but as I mentioned in my retrospective video I made all the way back an eternity ago, I actually enjoy this zone. Although we need to take it slow to make sure we don't get crushed or land in lava, it offers a harder platforming challenge and ramps up the difficulty. Once again though, I went through a wall for these secret rings and an extra life, which I feel like shouldn't have been an achievement, but whatever, it's fine. I then beat the stage and went into Special Zone 2. Thankfully, I went the correct way, freed the emerald, and moved on to Marble Zone Act 2, where I once again went into a secret area for no Chivo, rode some moving platforms, and carefully made it to the block breaking section, where breaking all of these bricks unlocked an achievement for me. Then, because of the points that gave me, I also got an achievement for reaching 100,000 points. I made it to the end of the stage and into the next special zone. This is usually one of the harder ones for me, since the emerald is in the direct center with nothing really to help you get there, but I got through once again. So far, pretty lucky with these. In Act 3, I almost died when I somehow managed to fall back down from this platform into the lava, but it was all good in the end. Went through another wall shortcut for no Chivo. Pretty quickly though, I made it to the boss battle, where we need to jump in between 2 platforms while Robotnik firebombs them. 8 hits and we're good, freeing more animals from becoming badniks. Spring Yard Zone is, depending on the day, one of my favorite or least favorite stages. Overall, when done right, some of the set pieces are a blast to speed through, but there are some annoying spots. If we keep on the upper path though, things aren't so bad and we can get through pretty quickly. Thanks to some arrows pointing me in the correct direction during the special zone, I got through that as well, so that was no problem. We now have 4 of the 6 emeralds in the game. Yes, Sonic 1 has 6, not 7 emeralds. Spring Yard Act 2 was actually one of the easier stages I've gone through recently. Just kind of held right and I was done within a minute and a half. I almost fell into a couple of goals during this bonus zone, but the red emerald is now mine. In the next act, I almost crushed myself on the first elevator section. Then since I had a shield active, when I grabbed the speed shoe and invincibility stars, I had all 3 power-ups active at once for an achievement. Then, since I wasn't hit at all, I managed to collect 100 rings at once, so I got another achievement for that. Honestly, kind of surprising that I hadn't done that already. We're pretty far into the game now. The boss fight for Spring Yard Zone has Robotnik taking the ground from under us with his spike, but you can spam him pretty fast so it doesn't become that much of a problem. Spring Yard Zone, done. Going into Labyrinth Zone, I wanted to unlock a specific achievement, Oxygenated Hedgehog. This one needed me to save myself from drowning at the last possible second. I thought I would do this by standing in the shallow water, then jumping when the timer said 0. I tried this multiple times and it was just not working. And because I was impatient, I was using the fast forward key and held it for too long and died, so no Deathless Chivo for us now. Seriously, I tried this dozens of times and died numerous times while trying it. It just did not work. So I decided to try saving myself at the last second with a bubble, and oh, whoops, let's try again. And it worked with a bubble. So if you're doing this set, yeah. I made my way through this long level and hopped into the final special stage. Unfortunately, I super quickly fell into a goal, so first fail in one of these. But it's okay because we'll have a few more attempts at this thing. In Act 2, I found the switch hidden underneath the ring box. Then I went through the stage, making sure to grab bubbles as often as I could. Thankfully, this act is easier, and I got into another big old ring to give the final special stage a shot. Oh, well, the same thing happened again. Labyrinth Zone Act 3 is one of the harder ones in my opinion. A lot of it takes place underwater, who would have thought? And for some reason, there are a ton of spike traps in this act. But it wasn't the traps that got me, it was actually a burrow bot. Then after that death, things went a bit downhill. I died again immediately, almost drowned, then got hit as the water was rising towards the boss fight, which trapped me down into Drown World. Then started climbing my way up to the Robotnik fight. Well, actually, this time it's kind of more like a race. It is possible to defeat Robotnik on the way up if you hit him 8 times, which would have made a fantastic achievement in this set, but it doesn't exist, so I just ran my way through and freed my boys. Starlight Zone is up next, and in Act 1, there isn't all too much to talk about, except I made it to the goalpost with 49 rings, which meant I was 1 ring away from getting another attempt at the bonus zone. This is an issue. We're getting close to running out of attempts. In Act 2, I actually got 50 rings in under 25 seconds, which popped a Chivo. These stages are super short, so I made it to the end with 80 rings, hopped into the special zone, and took on this challenge one last time. I just played it safe and got myself lodged into the first layer of crystals, broke the rest, and got the white emerald for the achievement Got Them All, which, guess what, is for getting all of the emeralds in the game. Act 3 is once again super short, but it introduces us to these spike seesaws that launch us in the air, which prepares us for the boss fight here, where there are 3 seesaws and Robotnik throws spikes at us. We can either launch ourselves or the spike into Robotnik to win and free the animal buddies one last time. And I say one last time because we're now onto the last zone, Scrap Brain Zone, which will lead us up to the final Robotnik fight. I died within seconds, and now I'm down to 2 measly lives, which is far off from the 10 we had in Labyrinth Zone. I faced another near-death experience when I just barely landed on these moving platforms above a pit, but Act 1 was all good in my book. Act 2 has the launchy circles, which are goated. There are a lot of saws and such around, and a couple places where you can get trapped, but we made it through to an interaction with Robotnik. He has us trapped and sends us falling into another Labyrinth Zone-like level. If we're quick and fall under the starting moving platform, we go through the shorter path to the end with the springs getting us the achievement for beating Scrap Brain Zone. And we get to finally take on Final Zone. This zone is only the last fight with Dr. Robotnik. Here, he will go into one of the 4 crushers in the stage. We need to hit him as he comes out, then dodge the electric balls that he sends out. Best way to deal with the balls is by standing in between 2 that are far apart, then doing a hop to squeeze your way through them and not get hit. Other than that, it's a patience test. You just need to hope you get a clear shot in Robotnik. After a few hits he's done, we get an extra attack on him, and boom, we're done with the game. And since we beat the game with all emeralds, we also get the achievement Complete Victory. This was a pretty great run through, and we are already through more than half of the set after 57 minutes. So surely this entire thing will only take me 2 hours to complete, right? But before I move on, I have to become the shill of all time. Alert! We have hit maybe 11,000 subscribers once this video comes out, and we have to hit 25k for our next game sub goal, the Super Mario 64 Lazy Lakitu Challenge. I feel like I haven't ever really explained this set super well, so let me inform you properly now. This set will be by far the hardest one that I will have completed on this channel, with only 17 people ever doing it. Basically, you play the game while Lakitu is stationary, and you need to get every star without being able to see very well at all. So if you want to see that insane challenge, drop a sub. And also while you're at it, please leave a like and a comment, as those really help the algorithm push my content. And if you do want to make it go even further, share the video with friends or people on forums and use the hype feature. I really want to get the #1 hype video on the platform one day. Maybe this will be the one. Okay, sorry for preaching, but I'll get back to Sonic 1 now. We have 18 out of 35 of the achievements now, and what we've got left is this. 11 of them are going to come from getting all 5 emblems after each stage, which is a process. But other than that, we'll need to get 200 rings, all 4 checkpoints in Green Hill Act 3, beat Marble Zone Act 1 in under 1 minute and 30 seconds, find the secret invincibility power-up in Starlight Act 1, then, like I said earlier, tackle the 2 hardest Chivos of the set, beating all of Green Hill with under 1,000 points on the counter, and then beat the game without a death. So, most of you are going to know this, but the end portion of each level has score emblems near the goalpost, which just give you some extra score as you blast off into the next act. Each level with the emblems has 5 of them scattered about, usually in a bit of an arc pattern, but some of them are not so simple. Thankfully for me, there's someone who mapped out and documented documented each stage's emblem, so thanks, Sock Puppet, for making this super helpful video that shows where each one is. These achievements aren't really too interesting, but luckily for the story of this video, there are still some achievements along the way that I want to grab so we can split everything up accordingly. Starting off in Green Hill Act 1, I realized something. This category of Chivos were going to be hard if I had more than 50 rings, because the big old warp ring would be in the way. So next time through, I purposefully got hit, and in this level, the score points are lined up with the palm trees. Not too hard at all. In Act 2, I remembered I had to get an achievement for having over 200 rings, so I ran around and collected, I think, every single ring, taking every path I could find, and well, I fell 40 rings short, and since the big ring was in the way, I wasn't able to grab that either. So I reset the game and tried it again in Act 1. Failed again, but this time due to stupidity and missing rings. Then I failed again at getting the score points in Act 2, and so I had to give it another shot. This time I figured out I could actually collect the first 3 before passing the goalpost, and then get the last 2, which made it way easier. Before moving into Marble Zone, because Act 3s don't have score Chivos, I decided it was time to get those 200 rings back in Act 1. I took it slow and took every pathway. All 3 of the levels before the tunnel, and when I got through the tunnel, I was actually able to get a decent amount of rings in the sky, and boom, done. You might be thinking, well, now Pajamajohn here needs to play through Act 2 and 3 of Green Hill again. How inconvenient. And like, imagine if he misses one of the emblems in Scrap Brain Zone, he'd have to replay the entire game again. Actually, don't you worry. We can actually get to a level select if we reset the game, press up, down, left, right, hold A, then press start, which means we can go for a stage, any achievements exclusive to it, then reset if we mess up. This will become super useful right away actually, because we have something to do in Act 3, which I did not do on my first try. So going into Act 3, we need to get all 4 checkpoints in one go, which means I need to get them in a very specific order. Like I said, I failed on my first try, but on my second try, I took this path. Boom, done. Now in Marble Zone Act 1, we got a couple of Chivos. First, we need to get through the entire stage in under 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I wish there was a cool story to tell, like a rise and fall and rise again process of how I got through this, but first try. With a reset and getting back into the stage, I got to the end, and it was a nice little arc. Satisfying. Now in Marble Zone Act 2, all we had to do was get the score emblems, and it was another arc. I made a mistake because I wasn't fully paying attention, but for some reason the level select has the next zone labeled as Starlight Zone, so I went there next. I'm sorry. Here, there was a Chivo for getting this invincibility power-up, which I had no idea was here. Like I said, I've played this game a billion times and had no clue this was here at all. I love how I can always learn new things about my favorite games, and it's really just thanks to RetroAchievements. But I actually realized my mistake and went into Spring Yard Zone, and good thing I did, because the name of these achievements and the orders I get them will be important, kinda. Okay, Spring Yard Zone Act 1, 3 of the emblems came from before the sign, then the last 2 after. For Act 2, it was actually the same. 2 before, 1 on top, and the other 2 after. In Labyrinth Zone, I want to make note of something. Something I really think should have been an achievement. I wouldn't say this is a super secret, but it is a bit obscure, so I would be surprised if a lot of people didn't know about this. In Act 1 of Labyrinth Zone, as you hop into the second water section with the buttons on the ground, this button to the right actually has 2 uses. It opens up this door, but also, if we do some tight maneuvering to get on top of this platform and hop back out of the water, there's now a moving platform that we can stand on for a much needed shortcut through this level. It really should be an achievement, along with getting all the extra lives in Marble Zone. But anyway, these emblems are kinda tough. I messed up my first try. They're in this tight arc above the goalpost, then one last emblem in the top right. Now in Act 2, they're even more tricky. The first 3 are actually way before the goalpost, and the last 2 are pretty high up there after it. Now, time for actually Starlight Zone. 2 right above, 1 kind of in the middle, and 1 in the top right. This next one is actually cute. One of them is a starlight, and the rest are in an arc. For Scrap Brain Zone, 1 above the post, 1 before the post, and the rest in an arc. And actually, now we are really done with Scrap Brain because Act 2 doesn't have any emblems for some reason. So, the first 33 achievements in the set took me an hour and 50 minutes, and we only have 2 of them left. But I'll be real, these one are actual challenges. The first one I'm going for is the 1000 score in Green Hill Zone. In this game, each enemy is usually worth 100 points when you hit it, and after you pass the goalpost, each ring you've collected and stored in your counter turns into 100 score as well. Then there's the time bonus, which we'll need to avoid by waiting 5 minutes before we actually pass the goalpost. So that, mixed with the point rewards, means there's some leeway for this achievement. Not. In actuality, defeating Robotnik is worth all 1000 points. This means means we need to beat each and every stage without hitting an enemy, making sure to lose all rings right before the end, and remembering to wait past 5 minutes to get past that goalpost. Altogether, this was a hard one. Starting off, I didn't really recognize how tough this would be. I threw myself into Green Hill expecting maybe 1 or 2 fails, but getting through without too much trouble. The first obstacle in the way that is kind of hard to get past is this crab meat, but with a well-timed jump you can sneak your way by. I just took it kind of slow through this level, down the tunnel, kept on the low path, and got hit when needed. I made it right to the end of the level when I needed to jump over this row of rings, and since the stage camera locks you from going back at this point, I had to restart. The next time I tried getting a better speed up head start and still managed to hit one. Then I killed a crab meat and went down the tunnel too fast. Yep, this one's gonna be a struggle, isn't it? The next time I got there, I smartened up and actually used this elevating platform to get over all of the rings, then waited using my speed up magic abilities to not get the time bonus. Green Hill Act 2 is a beast of its own. I got destroyed by these choppers, but good news actually. Dying doesn't affect score, so I didn't have to restart until I was tricked into rolling into one of these guys. It took me a while to get back into Act 2, but when I did, I immediately took out a fish. But the time after, I actually made it to the end and waited the 5 minutes to get into Act 3. I took the low path, sprung myself up, went around the loop, went behind the waterfall, up another spring, died again, then got sniped when I was standing here, getting a game over. Really look like a rookie here, don't I? Eventually, I made it back to Act 2, rolled into another enemy going through the tunnel. After 15 minutes, I finally got back into Act 3, and this time I made it all the way to Robotnik. I hit him 8 times with no rings, no score. Now I'm at 1,000 points, and there we go. Finish the stage. Wait. The Chivo didn't pop. Oh no, I forgot to wait for the time bonus. You've got to be kidding me. Well, thankfully on my next try, I made it back and actually waited to pop the second to last Chivo in this set. Our last achievement is South Island Champion, and we need to beat all of the stages in the game without a single death. And I don't think there's a better way for me to show off my struggle than with a Pajamajohn patented awesome super cool time lapse. So without further ado, Pain. Going at this for 3.5 hours, I was finally able to master the original Sonic the Hedgehog in, wow, exactly 6 hours. I'll be honest, this is unintentionally one of the easier sets I've gone for on Retro Achievements. I definitely think a game like this with the legacy it's left probably deserves a slightly bigger set, whether it be some of the secrets I've showed off in this video, or maybe some extra fun challenges, kind of like the 1,000 score in Green Hill. That being said, something that I haven't mentioned is that if you take a look at the URL for the Sonic 1 set, it's retroachievements.org/game/1, which means I'm pretty sure this was the first game on the entire website. Since that's the case, I fully understand that when the set was made, RA didn't exactly have criteria for sets or anything like that. So I also see the value in preserving the set, keeping it similar to what it was with the Retro Achievements launch. There are other releases of this game after all. Also, maybe I should start playing some of the games down the list. Number 2 is Aladdin for the Genesis, so let me know if you want to see that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Bye now.